In fact, the water I give will well up giving eternal life. Unable to avoid the conversation, the woman glanced at the man with a sneer on her face. "Sir, give me this water, so I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming back here." "Fetch your husband," the man said quietly. She felt like someone had hit her in the pit of the stomach. All the pain, all the sniper marks, all the shunning she had experienced over the years, all the anger and the resentment she felt overwhelmed her. "I have no husband," she muttered, more to herself than to the man. "You are right when you say that you have no husband. The fact is, you have had 5 husbands, and the man you now have is not your husband. What you say is true." For the first time, the woman jerked her head up and looked intently at the man. She was startled by what she saw. His face seemed familiar somehow, like the face of someone she had known as a child but had forgotten, almost like the face of her father. His eyes were full of compassion, not judgment and contempt. She felt he knew everything about her and loved her anyway. She hesitated before she spoke again. "Sir, I see you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you Jews claim that the place we must worship is in Jerusalem." "Believe me," said the man, "a time is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. A time is coming and has now come when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For they are the kind of worshipers the Father seeks. God is spirit, and his worshipers must worship in spirit and in truth." Had she heard right? She would worship in spirit and in truth. She would be welcomed in. And having called the awesome God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob Father, she felt the bitterness crack and begin to slide off her soul. Gone was the anger and the resentment. Gone was the sarcasm in her voice when she exclaimed, "I know that Messiah is coming. When he comes, he will explain everything to us. I will speak to you and he." Stunned disbelief turned into confusion and then possibility. She stared at him intently. When the other men arrived, carrying food from the town, she realized she hadn't even heard or seen them as they approached. Forgetting her water jar, she ran back to the town to tell the others, "Come and see. Could this really be him?" When Jesus confronts us, either on the side of the well, or driving home at midnight, or in the pages of the novel, or in the quiet of our own bedrooms, even here in worship, he often comes to us out of the blue. He comes to us when we least expect him and grabs our attention in ways we cannot ignore. And nothing we can imagine is like our encounter with Christ, as the Samaritan woman at the well found out. In this story, the woman at the well went looking for water. That was all she really wanted. The fact that she went to the well at noontime, the hottest part of the day, when no other woman would normally go to the well, and the fact that she was living with a man who was not her husband, all infer that she was probably an outcast, ostracized for her way of life. Whatever the reason she had had 5 husbands, whether it was for divorce or death, she was considered valueless. And by living with a man who was not her husband, she would have been condemned by the religious establishment as an adulteress. And probably she believed she was also condemned by God, and there was no hope for her. No hope of coming into God's presence. No hope of being once again in communion with her Creator.